I always tell people that hustle is a simple dance. Anybody can count to 3 and 1, 2, right? It's not an easy dance.
Yes.
It's a simple dance, right? So my thing was to show via my footwork and us being our connection and movement around the floor and so forth, that although it might look easy, for 45 years later, people still trying to figure out how to get someone stuff. That's okay. I think that helps. And so far, now looking back, I think it's withstood the test of time.
Here we are in the M123 studio with our very iconic guest, Derrick Allen. I am so thrilled. I'm a little nervous, to be honest with you. To talk
You're
with you.
nervous.
Yeah. I have to say
that's a good one.
I have to say that you are one of the people in the community at large that is so warm and so inviting, and so I'm telling you, I had a thrill when we caught up with each other at the LA Hustle Congress.
Oh yes.
And
yes.
You and Alex, your running buddy, the three of us hung out, sporadically during that weekend. And I have to say that for me, it was one of the most memorable weekends for me regarding hustle, and just because we just chilled and talked, and I talked about hustle and talked about other things. And it was cool. And every time I see you, you're just like I've known you for a long time, and I appreciate that about you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I don't know any other way to be,
It's very appreciated on my side. And I see how you are with folks on the dance scene, because that's the only time I really see you. And the whole planet would benefit from your demeanor. And I
mean that very much. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. I remember there was a time when people would not dance with me, and I just would not do that to anybody. And I always feel that you give what you get. So everybody starts somewhere, and it's like when I met my wife, I told her, I'm a what you see, what you get type of guy. And that's how I roll.
Well, that's a great union, the two of you. You're really attractive and really sweet couple. Well, listen, I think I'm going to start right out the box with some, I have several questions, of course. And instead of starting out with fluff, I figured I would just come out and say, as a masterful hustle dancer, how is it that you have a unique circular style that I've only seen a couple of leaders similarly have?
My style is just the way I move and how I hear and interpret the music while I'm moving and while I'm dancing. The circular style is, I think some of us old timers, I just work that way. I would think someone like Hector Barrios has a similar circular movement and style into the way he traverses the floor and works with whoever he's dancing with. I think that's just how I interpret the dance. I don't know how else to say it.
So, did you have any dance background prior to getting into hustle? Maybe that was a contributor.
That's a funny story. I played football, and in order for me to play football, my sister, who's really the dancer, my sister actually went to performing arts, and she was actually an extra in the original movie Fame. And I used to have to take her to dancing school. That's what my parents said. Look, we're working, whatever. you got to take your sister to dance school and literally sit there all day. So one of the teachers that she had was actually the main dancer for Alvin. She was actually one of the last partners, Agnes, to dance with Alvin. So I would sit there literally all day from 10, 11, clear up until high school and watch my sister dance. And so yeah, you listen to the dance theory, listen to, oh, you have to have the lines, you got to turn out your toe. So even though I didn't actually do it, I understood it. So when it came time when I decided, okay, I'm going to do more than just social dance with this, I knew some of those principles to apply to the dance. And that's how my initial background to dance came. Later on, I ended up working at the New York Council Dance Studios. I got a little bit more formal training. I was doing all the dances, foxtrot, waltz, swing, rumba, tango, all the major dances. I was teaching that. But like anything else, if you don't use it, you lose it. But that's pretty much how my background went.
I see. So it was initially more assimilation than anything else.
Yeah, I would say so. Yes, and I studied, when I decided to do more of a competitive type of thing, I was looking for stuff. And I remember, I always tell people when they ask me about, way back in the day. I know for a lot of people back in the day, it's like 1991 and 2000, but back in the day for me, it's 75, 76, 78. It's 45 years ago. And, there was no internet. There was no cable. There were no cell phones. There was no smartphones. You had four major, channels, really three major, then you had Channel 13, a couple regional channels. So I would look at old Fred Astaire films. And that influenced, I think, some of my styling and stuff like that. Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire.
I see.
Oldie but goodies.
That makes sense.
Golden age, yes. And just
Yeah,
to see
stuff
how
from
they
the 30s and
moved,
40s.
how to hold myself, lines, musicality, things like that.
Yeah, I think that in watching you, I'm enthralled. I watch and I'm amazed at the way that you traverse. If you didn't see your feet, you would swear that you were on skates or on, there's no undulation or anything like that. You travel like, it's like this, that's you the whole time. I was like, wow, it's so amazing and so wonderful. So who were your contemporaries during that time when you began your hustle journey? And what was your strategy to try and beat them in competitions?
Good question. Well, I was fortunate to be pretty much there at the beginning. I can't say at the absolute beginning because I didn't really start competing until about 78. But I've been dancing hustle since I was in high school, 15, 16 years old. So that would have been about 75, 76. But for me, at the time, the first contest I ever saw live, I saw Floyd and Nelly. I saw a friend of mine who we went to high school together. I went to Brooklyn Tech. And his name was Keith Merriweather, and he was dancing with a partner by the name of Suzanne Lambro. Suzanne and I are very close to this day. I'm the godfather to her kids. She's the godmother to my daughter. I saw Floyd and Nelly, and to this day, I always laugh, because one or two times I've spoken to Keith after that, he had come up to me. He was telling me about the dancing. I was congratulating him, and I think he came in second or third. Floyd and Nelly just run away. But he says, Derrick, they're giving out all this money. You should get out here and get some of this money. I was like, I don't know, Keith. I don't know if I'm good enough. He says, you're good enough. You're good enough. Just get out there and dance. Go get yourself a partner. You should see that. I mean, he was right on that, though. There were contests everywhere, all the time. And, it was easy money, $250 here, $500 there, just for winning a preliminary. So contemporaries at the time, Billy and Sandra, you had Hector, of course, Floyd and Nelly, all the big Lee. and Ricky Elite, Maria Torres, Artie Phillips, of course, Lisa, Eddie and Lourdes. I mean, the list goes on. So those names that stuck,
Right.
and to this day are the same names that you hear over and over and over again, were the contemporaries that I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to compete against, because when you compete against people who are really good, they tend to bring out the best in you. And so, for me, from a strategic point of view, I knew I wanted to be different. And if I tried to compete on their terms, which would have been the lifts and all that stuff, I'm competing on their turf.
Right.
So I had to be different. So for me, I wanted to be be known more as a dancer. So I would concentrate on the floor work, fluidity, musicality, things of that nature as an offset. And they evolved from there. That fed into the studying of the Fed Astaire videos and things of that nature. So that was pretty much my strategy. And we actually had shirts made that, had our names on the front, my dance partner, Lilia. So Derrick, she had Lilia, but on the back it said Poetry in Motion. And that was our tag, that you were going to see a smooth, fluid style with musicality and things like that, and not an emphasis on the tricks and acrobatics. That was our thing, to be different. And so that was the strategy, and it served us well at some really key points in my career.
Did you find, though, that those competitors who had the lifts and the tricks wowing the audience and the judges more so than your technique on the floor? I mean, did you find that problematic, or you figured out ways to circumvent that?
I think we figured out some ways to circumvent it in terms of, whether it be the music we picked, the stories we told within our dance, and the intricate footwork. Because, I always tell people that hustle is a simple dance. Anybody can count to 3 and 1, 2, right? It's not an easy dance.
Right.
It's a simple dance, right? So my thing was to show via my footwork and us being our connection and movement around the floor and so forth, that although it might look easy, from 45 years later, people still trying to figure out how to get someone stuff. That's okay. I think that helps, and it's withstood so far. Now looking back, I think it's withstood the test of time, and that was my thing. One year. One of the things I'm going to say about all the other competitors, now that we're all, considered OGs, I consider, I'm friends with Nelly, with Kenny Gonzalez, I was, friends with Artie Phillips, Billy, good friends, Hector Barrios, good friends. And we look back now and everybody is comfortable giving everybody their due. And I remember before, the unfortunate passing of Artie, I was at the World Hustle Championships. I was walking upstairs with my wife, and he was coming down the stairs. And he goes, Derrick. Hey, Artie, he goes, I so get you. And he looked at me, he goes, I so get you. Those were the exact words to me. And I looked at him like, you didn't want to be a circus. And then I just smiled. He goes, I so get you, man. Good for you. And I thanked him for that. That meant the world to me, coming from Artie folks. And I thanked him for that. He goes, I realized what you were about, and God bless you. So the next time I saw Artie after that was when he was one of the judges at the Congress that I won the Open with Donna Simone. And I look back now and I go, I'm okay with it. Whatever little bit it was, I'm good.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you mentioned, standing the test of time, and it's very true. In my opinion, it's very timeless. I think that just seeing that video that we were talking about before we started recording to Close Encounters of all songs, right? But wow, wow, it was amazing, and to be able to see that, to see you, I never even knew that you could do that. All those turns and your little robot thing, and and the two of you, even the way you ended it, that was a very cute ending. How you came out, just then back, and then just kind of like, hey, here we are, and I thought that was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
I'm thinking that's just one instance in time. I wish I'd have been able to see at least a
Thank
couple of
you.
more.
Yeah.
Even
Like I
even
said,
if I've been there live.
I it's funny how you sometimes see yourself, because I see things and I never thought of it like that. But and my wife would tell you, I not one to really talk about myself, um, talk about my dancing. It's really Lena, my wife, that talks with me. I don't know sometimes, but she told me, when you're on this podcast with Mike, you gotta just say whatever it is you're gonna say. I'm like, okay. So looking back now, uh, I've had over the years, people have stopped me over the years and said, Derrick, I saw you here. I remember this and I remember that. And there are very few people that can say they influenced the dance. Very few. And as far as guys go, and this dance called the hustle. I'm talking about the influencing in terms of styling, moves, things like that. Who do you have? You have Billy Harville. He's a giant, more than anybody else. Artie, Eddie, and even Eddie, when you really look at it from a styling point of view, he learned a lot of this stuff when he was dancing with Billy, because he used to be in the dance dimension. And I think I would include myself, because I see people doing things, the traveling moves, things like that, and I know that I influence that. And I get an inner satisfaction, whether 2 people know it, or 2,000 people know it, or 2 million people know it. I get an inner satisfaction for that, because I know that I influenced that. I never say you created it, because dance is an art form. People see things, steal things, borrow things, give things, and so always a trade backwards and forth. I always look at it from the perspective of who made it popular. And I wrote an article some years ago, and I used Michael Jackson as the illustration for that. That when Michael Jackson did the moonwalk on that Motown 25, and I think it was 83, 84, whatever he did that. It was just a bang out.
Right.
Oh my God. People just were floored, talked about it for months, years, and no one can really tell me if he's the first one who ever did a moonwalk, because he's not. He is not. Moonwalk was existed by pantomime
around.
way before that. But he's the one that did it so well,
Right.
that put a punch on it with just such an emphasis that it became synonymous with him. He became somewhat synonymous with it, and he made it popular. And so I like to say that I'm the one who made the traveling and the movement and things like that popular in this dance form. That's my little statement. And Billy definitely forget about it. What he's done he's done more than anybody to get this dance on an international level. Floyd and Nelly, when they first appeared back on the Merv Griffin show, I consider Nelly like the godmother of hustle, for what they did and the influence they put on it, So, I now, I'm going to be 66 years old, and I'm looking back and like that tape I'm, 20, 21 maybe. Or, okay.
Right.
No training, street dancer. Got some wins under your belt. That's so bad. That's how I look at it.
Yes, that's certainly something to be proud of. And and piggybacking on what you were saying too about doing something that may have been done or whatever, but when you do it in a particular either genre of dance or
Style.
it outside of its origin, and that it's like reinvigorating that particular thing. And so
Correct.
I totally agree
Correct.
with that. And of course, when I think back and look at what you said, okay, so Fred Astaire, I could see that that movement of Fred Astaire. And Fred Astaire was like a gangly, like he was an awkward looking dude, but he,
Yes.
in general, he had big
Yeah.
hands, long arms,
Yeah.
but he
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
able to make it look so fluid, right?
That's right.
Yes. Looking back at the early years of dance, what would you have done differently, if at all?
I think I would have gotten formal training earlier. I think if I had to do it all over again, I would have found a way to get in touch with, Francois Zoni, like Billy did. He became close personal friends with Augie and Margot to learn his craft. Something like that. Not that I would have done a lot of the tricks and acrobats, but I would have maybe done one or two more just to supplement a routine. Okay, now I could do this. Look at me, I could do that. Now look at me, now I could do this. Now look at me again, I could do that. I'm not about that, but in the course of putting a routine together, maybe been able to incorporate that a little bit more. So if anything, I probably would have tried to get more formal training to kick it up a level, because everything Lily and I did was strictly on our own, pretty much. We take the time and try to figure it out, make my basics from learning how to count and count music. This is how we're going to count this or whatever. And Lilia, people don't understand, Lily was I think underrated in many ways because she had no training at all. Period, zip, zilch. And in the beginning, when I decided, okay, I was gonna compete, and I was actually looking to compete for the cars for the Cherry Red Corvettes. And she actually would go out with me and see if we could find a partner. Yeah, we could find a partner for me. And when it was getting close to the end of when you can enter the contest, and she said, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, we'll dance together. Shoot, we dance anyway. You know my moves. I'll work with you and we'll make it work. And if you look at her arms and things like that, you realize, she was pretty good. She didn't have the acrobatics and the all the other stuff and the training of somebody of Alicia or Nelly or some of the other ladies. But for what she did and having no background at all, she did pretty good. We used to go to some of the gay clubs to watch, to learn. And there was a guy by the name of Melvin. And Melvin was amazing. He was just freaking amazing on the floor. Generous, very giving, and he would take the time to show her how to do her arms, or she span, or she would spin and things like that. And very, very, very unselfish. And just a wonderful, wonderful human being. And so those little things would help a lot. And I think if I had to do it all over again, I probably would look to get some more promotion. I think.
And you guys did your own choreography?
Yes. When it came to, I think, like Close Encounters, Ralph Luas actually gave us a couple of suggestions on that. But pretty much all our choreography was our own.
Wow, that's nice. Tell us, how long were your competitive years? And because you did performances too, right?
Yes,
At some point in time, you weren't really.
It's really funny. I was in, and then I was out. I think my whole time was 3 years, maybe total. That's it. I think I
Wow.
stopped dancing in 81.
Wow.
So I came in 79, 80, 81. I was out. And then I did a short comeback in 85 when I danced with Denise. That was even a fluke because we were kind of like exactlies, and she said, we were like, okay, come on, let's get us a quick $500, and we just jumped in the contest. And then in the end, I said, well, we're here, we might as well put something together and do the finals. And so we did the finals, and that was a great final. It was a packed house. We were up against Eddie and Lourdes, and it was a tough go. It was a runoff. And but Eddie pulled that one out. We took second, and Eddie was a great guy, and he thought I had it. I was like, hey, it happens, man, no problem. And I was happy for them, and that was it. And then I didn't do anything again until 25 years later. So
Wow.
yeah, it was my performances, and whatever performances we did, occurred in 79 and 80. We were at a stretch where we were with Ralph Hill and his dance troupe. Ralph was another one who's instrumental in his dance. All the big names at some point or another danced with Ralph. Everybody. Rico, you name it. Pretty much everybody danced with him or through him at one point in time. And we did the whole Bourse circuit, Madison Square Garden, Lincoln Center, Westbury Music Fair, things like that.
I see.
Tito Puente.
Mostly regional.
Mostly regional stuff. In my case, of course, you had, Billy was national with the dance dimensions and stuff like that. But in my case, I pretty much came on the scene in 79, late 78. 79 had a nice run with some pretty big contests under my belt, consecutive. Did some shows, and then creative differences. I said to my partner, I said, look, we have to step up our game. And then it was like, you know what? I'm done. And I decided to go and follow my position. And so I stopped dancing. I think 80. So it's 3 years in, out.
But you stay dancing socially though, right? Or no?
Oh yeah, always dance socially.
After that.
Yes, yeah. And every so often, I would get calls, people would ask me what I judge and things like that. So that kept me there. And I would be in the background cheering for what I would see like Audie on TV or Maria on TV, Eddie and Lisa on Star Search. I'd be so proud. I'd be tickled pink, But I kept dancing. I go out socially with my wife all through the 80s. I got married in 88, all through the 90s until I started getting calls again around 2000. So I really just dance socially. Sometimes I literally could go without dancing for maybe 6 months. I would maybe come out once or twice a year. And life got in the way, kids, family, business, things like that. I always had tried to keep a little goal somewhere on the peripheral, somewhere there on the perimeter to stay there,
You mentioned teaching. Can you tell us a little bit more about that experience? And was that also only during that competitive and performance time, like 78 through 81, or did it go beyond that? And then what really how did that come about? And tell us more about it.
Well, after I did Cherries, Cherries was an all amateur contest. You couldn't be a professional. So once Cherries was over and I won that, then I got approached. I would get approached by everybody to come and dance in the studios. I got approached by Dale Dance Studios, Fred Astaire Dance Studios, Ralph Lou, this one, that one, all so many people. I'm not exactly sure, Jack and Donna Shelley, they're another ones that are integral to this dance. I got a call to dance with New York Hustle. And I think at the time, Tony and Suzanne Marola was dancing with them or part of the training staff there. And I just saw it as an opportunity. I really wasn't dancing much with Lily at the time anymore. So I would go, or we would dance sporadically at different gigs. I ended up going to New York Hustle. They gave me a good deal. I figured I'd give this a shot, and I was one of their main teachers in their Brooklyn dance studio. And it was there that I actually developed some of my signature moves by incorporating some of the ballroom I was learning into it. And that's how I started formally teaching dance. I always taught a little hustle because I understood the count and stuff like that. But I never really promoted myself or pushed myself or did anything like that to teach or do anything like that. It pretty much just all would come to me. People would come to me and say, I want to learn. I didn't go, and I really didn't get back out to teaching and doing any type of workshops or anything until the 2000s when people would ask me to come back.
I see. What year did you begin? And then what's the stretch of time? The same amount of time that you were actively, professionally in hustle? Or did it go beyond that?
I would say that competitively, I probably started competitively dancing in '78. Then '79 was, one Cherries or one Playboy, Fantasy Island scandals. Those were like $4,000 or $5,000. Playboy was the big one. And then after that, it was more performances. We'll perform a lot with the Ralph Blue Dance Troupe. We'd have our own gigs, and people would call us. And Walter Darien, we danced at one of his major either birthdays or wedding anniversary. I forgot, at the Darien Dance Studios. They would have us there a lot of times. We did all the dance studio circuit back then. Some TV shows, they flew us out to Kansas City to do a show out there. Of course, Playboy Club. That was a part of the whole Playboy thing. And there, down in the Bahamas, there were flights down there to do shows. It was really an experience because you would have thought we were some big rock stars. I couldn't believe it. I used to call my mother up and go, "Mom, you're not going to believe this," because I think it's crazy. They would meet us at the airport, and we'd have these beautiful rooms. Everything would be paid for, and
oh yeah, I saw
it was great.
Yeah, I saw the letter. I saw the letter. Lynette sent me the letter of Playboy Bahamas. That hey, we'll have somebody meet you at the airport.
Yeah, it was really crazy.
Like, on the official.
Here's a little tidbit for you. So, Hugh Hefner modeled the Playboy mystique, not after him. It was after a guy named, last name was Lowndes. And that was the guy that he modeled the Playboy mystique from. And Lowndes was like the second in command at Playboy. His son was in charge of the Bahamas casino. So the letter you have is, I think, from Val Lowndes, which is the son of the guy that the Playboy mystique was modeled after. And Val was pretty cool. He was very generous, very nice man. When we were there at their club there called the Palace, I believe it was, and I can't remember, the name escapes me at the moment, but the guy that owned that club, he had one of the best and biggest recording studios in this hemisphere. The Rolling Stones used to go there to record. Beatles used to go there to record. And he had, like I saw, it was really an amazing time because we were treated truly like we were some big stars. And we were there as guest judges at his contest. And he took us to his house, this beautiful house up in the mountains and the cliff overlooking the Bahamas, just stunning. For dinner with him and private dinner with him and his wife to talk and things like that. So, we had some really great experiences. And once I got to that point, I was still in school because, I used a lot of my winnings to put me to college. And I look back now and I was like, damn, I was pretty freaking lucky to experience that, man.
To be around during that, yeah. Well, all the planets aligned to get you to,
it really
do the things
did.
that you needed to do.
That's very, very true.
Yes.
We were very fortunate we were at the right place, right time. I think we had the right look, and just things fell in line for us very, very, very well.
Yeah.
I learned not to take
Listen,
myself too seriously.
Well, that's good. Just seeing you as an individual and being around you, the limited amount of time that I have spent time with you, you seem very low key and very confident in your space and around other people, and I think that that life has treated you well. Just from my sense of you, life has treated you well, and you've paid back. So that's good. I mean, because look, the two of you look great. You're 65 plus. I'm not even going to think about or say what that is, right? But you two are a great looking couple. I've seen the both of you all over the world, and I'm glad that that you guys do that. You're able to travel and be at these exotic places, and you look great. You're not like the typical American, 40, 50, 60 pounds overweight and high blood pressure and all that, and then you get on the dance floor and you look awesome. Like,
thank you, man.
Yes, man. I did a little montage for Yolanda's piece, and part of it includes you and her dancing at the Miami Congress.
Oh,
and
it's fun to dance with.
I have a couple videos that I shot, and then you dancing with Lauren or you dancing in the rain with Carmen.
Carmen, I love her.
Yeah, Carmen is beautiful. I love her, and hopefully maybe I can talk to her one day. But there's something about you that I only recently realized, because I haven't really studied you. I haven't really studied many people's, and I am affected by many people dancing because I just love it. I love shooting people. I love watching them dance at any stage of their growth. But then I noticed you pay attention to the music. Your musicality is on. No joke, man. Like case in point, you dancing with Carmen in Date with the Rain, and you were hitting specific elements of the song, either lyrically or musically. And I'm like, it wasn't a mistake, because then you did it again. And I saw you do the same thing with Yolanda. And so whether you think about it or not, that resides in your makeup, right? This connection, not just with your partner, but with the music.
Well, the way I look at it, that's very nice of you. Thank you. I think it's just something inside. The music talks to you. To me, it does anyway. And the certain feeling I get when I dance to certain songs, because there's a lot of melody, highs and lows and things like that. When it's just a monotone. I can only dance that a few minutes, because after a while it just becomes boring to me. But when I dance with Yolanda, and it's a great song, the music is telling me what to do. And I'm interested in dancing with the person, not myself and then the person. I prefer to dance with the person. So I'll dance to whatever level I'm dancing with, because the whole point of the dance is to enjoy it together. To take these two people who are like this, and then to get them like that, when they're moving together. And to me, that's the art of the social dance, is to blend and move smoothly and enjoy the dance. And then you get some people that are just, Lauren, wonderful to dance with, Yolanda. You just, they bring a smile to your face because you're enjoying the road together. You're enjoying that journey on that song together. And that's just, I guess, what's ingrained in me, and that's what I try to do. Is actually what I try to teach or to talk when people ask me. It says, dance with the person you're dancing with, not at them and not to yourself. If you do that, you're going to enjoy the dance a lot more, and it'll be more meaningful to you. I truly believe that.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to be. While we were talking, I was thinking, have you ever done any coaching?
I have done a little coaching, so people have asked me, and I've had people who are now professionals, people who are just still amateurs who have come up to learn. I call myself I'm a troubleshooter. You know, I'm a quick hit artist. You know, you come in, I can clean you up on certain
Okay.
things. You're on your way. You know, get your connection right, your frame right, technical things like that that will make you, I hope, a better dancer. You know, this is how I move here. This is how I work with Graciano, Raul at one time. You know, different people. I think, you know, each one has maybe, hopefully, gotten a little pearl somewhere. And because we can all get a pearl or something from anyone. I can learn from anybody. I don't care who they are. I never try to think I'm so grandiose or anything like that that I
Be
can't
all
learn from someone. Yeah, be all that. You know, my father always used to tell me, you know, a fool can never learn anything from a wise man, but a wise man can always learn something from a fool. And I never forgot that. And pretty much
Okay.
approached my whole life now.
Great word.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
But when it comes to the music, like when you're ready for dancing and stuff, like what do you prefer? Do you prefer the up tempo or the down tempo music, or why?
Either one, it's really the song itself. Does it bring something out? Like, for instance, when I danced with Donna and we decided to partner for the championships, I told her, I said, well, you know, I had this routine in my head that I've had since 1981, which was Last Dance. And she says, Last Dance, that's how. I was like, listen, no. These parts, this is what I see and what I feel. I think it would be different enough that we can, it can make a difference. So I look for, that's on the competitive side or performance side. I look for music that has grandiose to it, highs, lows. I like the up-tempo songs, of course, but you know what? Sometimes the low tempo or slower tempo music, you can bring people along on a ride with that because it's actually harder to dance to. But I guess I would like the up-tempo music,
Right.
and as long as it has, you know, good melody and musicality to it, so you can play with it. Because other than that, to me, it becomes a boring song.
I see. You like to play?
Yes, I think that's part of the fun of it. You know, it's, you know, being able to play off of those little things in the music, and hopefully have your partner pick that up and work with you on it. So it becomes good. You know, for me, it's intrinsic. It just happens, I guess.
Yeah, I love your movement on the floor, and you have such a spatial awareness and then moves that I would love to do. I can't do them yet, but I, you know, but I feel you, you know, when you're out there, and have, I have seen you, I have seen you with, you know, lower level dancers, as well as, you know, very experienced and you know, upscale dancers. Yes, you're one of several leaders that are malleable to your partner of the moment. And I think that's important because sometimes leaders will tend to, and I've been, you know, I've victimized myself doing this by, I'm going to have them do this instead of, I'm going to work with them on this, you
Right.
know?
I get that. Yeah.
And there's a big
We're all
difference.
guilty of that at some
And
point. I know I've been guilty of it at some point too, but I really do try to dance because it's still the essence. We got to distinguish between social dancing, competitive dancing, performance dancing. They're all related, but they're different. And you have some people who think they're always on a performance or competitive footing when you're on the social dance floor. When you talk about spatial awareness, to me, that's just dance
right.
etiquette. There's a thing called dance etiquette. You know, there's a time to dance big, but there's a time where you just need to dance small because there are other people around you. And you don't want a hand flipping off someone in the face. It happens. I get it. I've done it. I've had it done to me. But, you know, it's not,
Yes.
you know, you adjust or you should adjust from that and say, hey, I gotta tone this down. I didn't realize. So you have to me, a good dancer, uh, someone who's has some awareness to them, someone who is really about just enjoying the dance is going to be aware and have some etiquette on the floor. Then you have some people, I don't know what they're thinking, they think they gotta dance like that. Take up, 20 feet all the time. And, dude, you touch a 3 foot square, you should be able to do it. So, it's just, that old adage, you try to treat others as the way you want to be treated. So I try to be mindful. And I'm sure I've fallen short of that sometimes, but it's never on purpose. And then I try to address them. I believe everybody should do it, especially on the dance.
Yeah. In that same vein, what do you think people should focus on when first getting started with Latin hustle?
Time. Everybody's trying to do, 50 million moves without doing one really good. And to me, you work on your timing and your basic technique, and that's your foundation. From that, everything else goes and grows. Like I said before, the hustle is a simple dance, but it's not an easy dance because we're interested in keeping that rhythm. And 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, or that rhythm. That's what makes the hustle. Now, some people, they'll do and 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. They're not really hitting the and 1. They're holding count. Fine. We all hold it at some point, but that's their basic. And if you're not doing the syncopation, then you're doing a lower level of hustle, from a judging point of view. You know what I'm saying? So execution point of view. It's the syncopation and being able to keep that syncopation and do whatever you're doing that makes the hustle, and keeps its character, in my opinion. Some people do it. It's you need some cardiovascular stamina behind you, especially if it's a very fast song. I mean, I can't dance. I make it do 15 seconds at a really high tempo right now. To me, I think anyone, whether in Latin hustle in general, is to get your timing right, your framing right, and understand your positioning. Good moving through your core, things like that. And that dance will flow and it will become much easier to do whatever it is you want to do. Trying to whip these girls and whip them into a place kind of makes you go like that sometimes when you watch it. That's me. That's my
important.
take.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because there's a couple of things with leaders that I've seen that some of them, they just want to look cool. And so they're posing and they're not doing the steps. And then when they're not doing that, they're not really staying on time. They may have a sense of the timing. They're not doing the time. So then they're off time. They're putting their partners off time because women are going to follow. Even if you lead them wrong, they're going to go wrong because you led them. The other thing you mentioned too about core, and I totally believe this, totally, that your physicality, contributes a lot to your dancing. And if your core is engaged, you're able to perform better, in that particular dance.
In any dance.
And it doesn't mean that you have to be like fit and all that.
No.
And then speaking about the core, I truly believe that if your core is engaged, then your performance is better. And sometimes I'm giving away something here, but there's this move I do. It's not a check. It's I forget what the term is. Like a push break. So instead of doing it with the hand, I do it against the abdomen, right?
Okay.
And for me, it's like a core checker. Yeah, and I would say about maybe 70% of the ladies that do that with, I don't do that with any force,
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
But I could tell if you're engaged. And some of them, the core is like not there, and others, the core is solid, But getting back to that, I just think that, there's more to dancing than just steps, is really what it is.
Yes. And it's definitely more to it. There's a lot of, I think, if people focused on, everyone wants to know moves. I guess people want content, so to speak. like you're looking for content on your website or whatever. But there's certain fundamentals and basics in terms of technique that if you get that done well, it's smooth, people just enjoy watching you. There are dancers out there now. Sometimes I like to just sit down and watch and enjoy everyone's, dancing and how they move and things like that. When you get those basics down, your styling will come. I believe your styling will come. So for new dancers, learn those basics. Move through your core. I always tell people, when I would teach, I'll tell them, look, you can walk, you can dance, because I teach from the perspective of weight change. How does your weight move? Where should your weight be on any particular step that allows you to progress or do the next move? So, moving through your car is really, really key. I know Lisa Naziella stresses that a lot when she teaches. And if you look at all the dances that you would say these are really good dances, you'll see how they move, and you can tell they're moving. The whole body's moving as one through that core, and it makes a difference.
I imagine you've been to a lot of weekender events and like congresses and things like that over the years, in the past 20 years or more. But post-COVID, how do you feel about the direction Latin Hustle is going?
Well, by the numbers, I think it's good. I see a lot more young people interested in the dance. I know even though my youngest daughter, Rocky, she's 27 now, to them, the old music is new. They love it. When I go to the events, you see a lot more younger people coming in. And, this is not something that's just happened. This has been a very long slog. I remember talking to Billy, and when, because it was somewhere around the mid 2000s, hustle definitely hit a slump. And there was a lot of talk about we have to get young people back in. The dance is dying. It's only the old folks. No one new. We're not having fresh blood come in. And it was a conscious effort by Billy to approach the salsa market to try to get them in. And he started that by having these congresses in Puerto Rico. And the first couple of ones he had me on staff. And it would be funny because we would go down there and have our different things, dancing, whatever. When we're in the ballroom, the young salseros will be making fun, with the jumping around, like the hustle and everything, the jump and all that stuff. And we would walk over there, and I would grab the woman, and I would go, just 1 second.
Right, on the end.
Then I would have them dancing, and like the salseros, they pick it up like that. And then they would start to dance with us. And at the end, they would grab it, show him, teach him how to do that. And the guys would start seeing it, and they realized it wasn't a caricature. And all of a sudden, they would get an interest in it. And that started that movement of really trying to get these young salseros into the dance, to refresh it, put more intricate turns in, incorporate the beautiful styling that the salseros have into the hustle. And so I think right now the dance is on a positive spin. The numbers are up. The younger people are in. Other people have helped to try to energize them. Jeff Shelby, he does his thing, which is a little more of a street funky style. But in the end, it doesn't matter how they get in, it's that they're in. And then once they're in, they graduate and want to do more, so to speak. So right now, I'm pretty happy with what I see, because I see progress. I have some young dynamic dancers out there, and you can start to really see, especially in the routines, some of the salsa styling and stuff that they do, but they're doing hustle. I'm good with it. Anything that makes it work, makes it expand, brings more people in, brings fresh blood in, keeps the excitement level high. I'm good. The music, it's funny, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but You know, when you go to some of the salsa events, they play classic salsa all the time, and nobody bitches because everybody loves the music and everybody loves dancing to it. To me, it should be no different than the hustle. It should be all types of music, classic, this, that. It's not that people don't want to hear it. I don't agree with that. I think everybody who likes to dance will, if it's a good song, they love to dance to it. So these things will shake out over time. The main thing now is you have another generation of leaders coming in. Shay with his convention out in LA, doing things. Raul, he's going up to Canada.
Right.
He does things and he's doing things with the hustle. And you have these young dancers coming in now, and they're looking at us OGs, and they're interested. And so, to me, that's a win. Any way you look at it, that's a win.
I totally agree with that. And you said something, you made me laugh so hard because I was like, oh man, I interviewed, like my second interview was with Sarah Green.
Mm-hmm.
And towards the end, I think it was a topic like this. And I said, I love that they're dancing. They're dancing whatever. They're all dancing, hustle, whatever kind of style you want to name it or whatever they're doing. But once, as long as they're in, right? Like you almost said verbatim when I and I was
graduated.
Like, yes, that's what I'm thinking. That's thinking of like, that's why I like you, because we think alike and feel alike, and that's awesome. Thinking about the dance, because I love the dance. I mean, I was deep into mambo for a couple of decades, and then I got reinvigorated with hustle, and then I had to, I'm still trying to pay my dues, and still trying to up my game. I still got a ways to go, but I feel better now than I did 2 or 3 years ago. Because coming back was not easy. I thought, I could do it, and no, I can't really do it like that. So, and as a leader, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I feel you.
Fortunately, I have, yeah. So I'm like, fortunately, I have this background in salsa that I could borrow from. I've borrowed some things, and I do things because even in salsa, mambo, I always had to have things that were different. I didn't like being being cookie cut from something else.
Right.
So I always had something that was a little different. So in hustle, that's what I'm trying to do too. But more importantly, I'm trying to get my hustle game on so I'm comfortable and my partner's comfortable. But more so than anything else is I'm loving the new injection, this new blood, not only of the younger generation, but even people who have never danced hustle before that may be a little older and they're getting in as well. So
yes.
Opportunities that are intergenerational and all that is such a boon to the industry, to the culture.
But the hustle was a true cultural phenomenon. It really was. And if you really sit back now and look 50 years, 45 years ago, it was truly a cultural phenomenon. It was caricatured in many ways. One of the things that it goes back to the lift and all that stuff, is because people didn't understand the dance and had a juxtaposition between how it was showed on like Saturday Night Fever and what we were actually doing in the clubs. And so, through it all, though, it survived. When you look at what I call the kids from New York, the Nellies, the Billies, the Eddies, the Lisas, the Marias, all of us, we were kids. This dance meant a lot to us. It meant a lot to us, and it helped me. It helped me. It saved Billy. He'll tell you that. He had his struggles with that's no secret with addiction and stuff. That's why he's so passionate about the game. And we were part of something that was truly, truly, truly unique. And we were fortunate, some of us, to become the face of this dance for a period of time. And at various points of time. And for it to come back and to, it's been codified, it's an actual dance. It's an actual dance with count, steps, patterns, levels. It's been codified. It's been codified. And so to be at the forefront of that is a truly unique experience. It's a very unique experience. And now when I see these kids and I get to sit back and watch, or anyone, like you said, intergenerational, and just see the fun that they're having. And you look at the workshops, they're all full. They're learning. They want to learn. There's a thirst for it. Hey, that's, that to me is just incredible. We just want that to go and keep going forward. And I just want people to truly want to learn the dance, to truly move it forward and do it. And that, no one has the 100%, I am right about everything about this dance. There are pearls from everybody. And then you'll develop your own thing. But I truly believe that every dance has its character. There's a character to every dance. That's what separates a foxtrot from a waltz, or a Peabody from a foxtrot, or even mambo from salsa. They're related, but the slight difference is each has its own character, each has its own look, There are different styles of dancing, whether you're talking international styling or social dancing. International styling is very powerful. The Russians are big on that, and what you see on Dancing with the Stars. To me, though, the character of those dancers, because of how they execute their moves, they'll start to kind of look the same. In social dancing, there's a true character and look to each dance. So the fact that the hustle has its look, its own character, is a true dance, a real dance. It's a great thing. And if people can accept that and learn those basics, that's one of the reasons why Billy, along with Jameson, to put the manual together. I know Graziano in Italy and throughout Europe, they have levels, they have certifications, because they want there to be a structure in place that promotes the dance being done correctly. No different than in ballroom. In ballroom, they have levels of the dance and steps and things like that, and techniques that you learn to do to get that dance to a level of execution, whether it be socially or competitively, that's meaningful. So hustle is there, almost there. We still got a little bit to go, but those building blocks, those basic foundational structures are in place. And this new generation hopefully can get in and take it to another level. And I'm excited for that to happen. I pray that happens.
Well, we're pretty much at the end. I just have one question.
Okay.
This is a question that is presented to every guest. I can say that now because I have a couple of guests under my belt now.
Okay.
And the question really is, what is Latin hustle to you? What is the meaning of it? Describe whatever you feel is necessary for people to understand what the Latin hustle is.
The Latin hustle to me is a wonderful dance that shows creative potential of young people, Latin people, the Puerto Ricans, basically from the South Bronx, and now that took something and it became an American dance. It's a dance now that is new to so many people, popular once they see it, and everybody loves it. So to me, it's something that expresses a contribution from New York, from specifically the Latin community and the Puerto Ricans of New York, and then all the other people who have contributed to it to a meaningful cultural phenomenon dance that is just a wonder to watch and great to do. So I hope that made some sense, but that's how I look at it.
Yeah, no, that was great. Any last thoughts before we say aloha?
Anything that helps promote the dance in a positive way, things like what you're doing. Hey, I just think it's a wonderful thing. I think everything helps. The foundation of this dance has many building blocks in it. And each one of those blocks has someone contributing something. Some maybe more than others, some with better stories than others, but everyone has a little bit in the block, a little bit in the foundation. And I want the community to always be together and moving forward in a positive direction. And if they do, I think everybody will be the better for it. That's how I look at it.
Nicely said. Well, Derrick, man, it's been my ultimate pleasure to have you here with us. I think
Thanks, brother.
I look at you, and you are in the community, in the dance. Your history speaks for itself, and your dancing contemporarily, is speaks for itself. You're still a very strong and beautiful and elegant dancer. I just love watching you dance. And I'm glad that you're still going out socially and letting people see you, and you also enjoying, other dancers and things of that sort. So thank you, my brother.
My
I
pleasure, my
appreciate
man.
you.
I
Maybe one
appreciate
day
you
I'll get
thinking
Alex.
enough of me.
Yes, I couldn't help but do that. But listen,
Thank you.
you're welcome. So we're gonna say goodbye here. For those of you who are watching, please be sure to click like, and if you haven't already, click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can see future episodes of not just Let's Talk Hustle, but other elements that are on N123. So with that being said, yo, nice to see you, and thanks for hanging out with us. Hey, Mike Bello here in the M123 studio with the Let's Talk Hustle podcast. I want to give a quick shout out to New Circle Films, who were so gracious to sponsor me with product, especially this particular boom arm for the microphone, as well as some lighting. So yeah, it's really helped to give a greater look to the podcast. So thank you, New Circle Films. And of course, the other shout out, tongue in cheek to N123, because the podcast is residing in the N123 channel. So that's it, folks. See you in the next video.